Hot Dog Paul has a special announcement.
I do have a special announcement. So November 10th, there's a very special movie that we're all looking forward to coming out, Wakanda Forever. And we have a very special announcement. So we are going to have a private screening in a 52 seat theater?
48 or
48, something like that. Fit enough of us boneheads in there. At the Art House Theater downtown. And we are going to be giving away a ticket to a listener of the show. Leave a comment in the chat or a comment down below if you watch the VOD after the fact. We will pick one winner who gets a ticket, and we will announce it on the show next week. Again, that's going to be Thursday evening, November 10th, or is it? It's November 10th, right?
Yep.
Not the 9th? Yeah. November 10th. So Thursday evening, November 10th, we are going to be having that private screening, and comment, chat down below, and we will pick one lucky person to tag along with us, and we'll be giving away more tickets probably. We got 48 tickets, and we'll see how that goes down. It's going to be a lot of fun. Comment down below.
All right, so for New Comic Book Day, we want to make sure we got Brother Robin here for like the picks of the week. I know you see all of us pretty much at the shops, don't you, Marcus?
We do.
For the most part, you've seen this guy before. No, he didn't have an afro when he was there the other day.
I didn't, so you might recognize me differently.
He didn't have a perm.
Yes, I remember. I definitely remember the
just
name.
for the show.
Let's start with Brother Rob. What do you got there for your pick of the week?
Oh my gosh, pick of the week. Oh wow. You know what? I'm gonna go with this one. I'm gonna show it right here. This is Riddler Year 1. Came out today. Great book. I read it literally right before I drove over here, and I was like taken aback. I actually didn't have it on my poll, and now I'm going to add it to my poll to get the rest of it. But it's crazy because the guy that wrote it, if you don't know, is the one who portrayed the Riddler in the Batman.
Yep.
And that Paul Dano is phenomenal. I remember him in Prisoners, if you saw that.
Oh, yeah.
With Hugh Jackman.
I remember him
phenomenal.
from There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood. He's great. And
Let There Be Blood.
what's crazy is I got to look this up, but there's a page in here, maybe Marcus, you might know this. There's a page in here that I think he did the art for.
Oh,
There's a large image in the book that's about a half page, and he's got his signature at the bottom of it.
yeah.
Mid book.
I think he might have done that. Yeah, I think I vaguely remember because I did read this week, and yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Definitely recommend it if you want like a prequel to the movie.
It's good. A good deep dive into just a guy who's struggling, seriously.
Right.
Like that's what it seems like. It's a dive into what happened before he duct taped his head up. What happened before that?
I think that comic in and of itself, I haven't read it yet, but everything I'm hearing, it's a testament to, not to get too far into it, but a testament to how deep Matt Reeves' script actually went.
Yep.
They actually fleshed out the characters beyond what we see on screen, which is always the best for telling a story. Is you don't have to tell all the elements, just understand where they're coming from. And I actually saw Dano doing an interview about this comic, and he said that exactly. He said the character description for the Riddler for this movie was so good that I didn't have to make up a whole lot of my own story for this. It was already there from the bones of Reeves' script.
And I think what's cool is that maybe in the future, we're going to see a little more of stuff like this, where if that's what's really happening under Matt Reeves, maybe we're getting some stuff from some other people who are portraying these characters, flushing out these backstories, flushing out, like, how does this character actually click? Not the Jim Carrey version, not the other versions, not this version, not that. No, how does Paul Dano's Riddler, like, what makes him tick?
go? Yep.
So that's really cool to get a deep dive into that. So that wasn't my pick of the week until today. So there we are.
I love the fact that it's not the oversized black label thing that DC keeps doing.
It technically is black label,
but it's not the big square thing that I don't know how to put it anywhere on.
You're like,
the
you don't even have a
shelf.
box for
It's
it.
like
those prestige formats.
See, I dug it for One Dark Night because of Jock's art.
Sure.
Oh,
But other
phenomenal.
than that,
Well, they have the
Phenomenal.
big page splashes, whatever.
Yeah.
Hot dog, what do you got?
You want the hot dog to go next? All right, so I'm going with The Human Target by Tom King and Greg Smallwood. It started coming out a little over a year ago, I believe. They did 6 issues, went on a bit of a hiatus, and then did a one-shot before jumping back in. I think last month they started coming out again. And it's 8 issues in. As of this week, issue number 8 came out, and it's a story about Christopher Chance, an individual who stands in as a body double for heroes or villains or whomever in situations where they could get attempted assassinations on them. And the story is kind of he stands in for Lex Luthor. He gets shot. He does his job perfectly to a T. He lives and he gets poisoned by this. And he's trying to figure out, he has 12 days to live and he's falling in love over these 12 days. Maybe the person he's falling in love with killed him. Maybe somebody else. It's just a murder mystery. And he's trying to figure out who is responsible for trying to kill Lex Luthor, but in turn is killing him. And it's Tom King, who he is the king of these, using these lesser known characters
Unintended.
to tell, very intended, to tell these really compelling stories. You have Mr. Miracle, which was incredible. He usually does it with Evan Shaner or Doc Shaner and I can't remember the other gentleman's name off the top of my head.
Garotz?
Yeah, Mitch Garotz. And they're just so good. And they live in their own world and King fleshes them out. And I didn't love King's Batman, but his writing lends so well to characters of that nature, where he's able to flesh them out in a way other artists writers have not been. And also, Greg Smallwood's art is incredible. It really lends to the story, and it's striking in a way you think two people on the beach talking wouldn't be striking. And I really think if you are interested in getting into comics, it could be a good door in, because it's just a wonderful story, and you don't have to know hundreds of thousands of things about comics to get into it. So that's my pick of the week for this week.
Good.
I like
Tom
it.
King is phenomenal.
He really is, yeah.
Yes.
Brother Marcus, I see what you have over there.
Yeah,
I'm interested. I haven't picked up my books this week.
Yes. So my pick of this week was Moon Knight #1, or the annual #1, and it's a very good standalone. It's written by Jed MacKay, who's actually the writer of the current ongoing series. We are at issue 16 as of this week, and it has been a phenomenal run. My first exposure to his writing was with Black Cat, which just ended not too long ago. It was a 10-issue run that kind of started up around the same time the King in Black event was going on. So there was a ton of books tying into that event.
That was
so
many books.
Yes,
Nightmare.
It was nuts. And I was following that event. So
Godspeed.
I guess, yeah. I guess one of the good things about following that event is I did latch on to Black Cat and Spider-Woman, which was actually pretty good too. And it was kind of underrated by Pacheco. Phenomenal series. It's also finished. And so Jed MacKay, he made Felicia it was just an awesome run. She's such a great character, and that run was so underrated, or I don't know if not a lot of people were talking about it.
Because it was Black Cat.
Yeah. And because of his run, I think I liked it better than any of the stuff that I read with Felicia. You know, in terms of, because Selena tends to be more flirtatious and stuff on the DC realm, where Felicia is more like, all right, I know I'm hot, so let's move on.
I do that all the time.
That's Frank's MO, actually.
He
knows he's hot.
Let's move on with this caper.
Slice of pizza.
But anyway, so underappreciated.
I'm a hot dog. Sorry.
So I don't know if I think Jed MacKay is kind of like that's okay. So I'm not sure if Jed MacKay is kind of like one of those up and coming writers, kind of like Al Ewing is now starting to kind of really become notarized, especially with Immortal Hulk and his recent run with Guardians of the Galaxy. But Jed MacKay, he's been killing it since Black Cat as well, since I've known him, because he did the Timeless one shot, which went into like a third printing, which also had Miracle Man on the third printing on the cover.
That's your boy.
Yeah, my boy.
Oh, shout out.
And in that same issue, you also had a teaser of a Black Panther, but it was a female. You could tell because there was hair on it. There was hair coming out of the mask. So little did we know that was a foreshadow cover. And so he did an excellent job kind of priming us for Kang being the next big villain for Marvel, or at least adversary. So that was really cool. And it was a brilliant issue. And then he also is doing Moon Knight since before the show actually launched on Disney Plus. So if you are interested, if you're a fan like me who didn't really like the show and thought that it was basically the equivalent of eating cold McDonald's French fries, what you probably want to do is get on this run. You can catch up on with the trades. The trades are out.
I still like cold.
And yeah, they're good. They'll fill you up, but you're still not
They
going to be
taste like
satisfied.
packing peanuts.
That's what,
What are you talking
right,
about?
right. That's what,
in the mood for
But-
that's what
That's
Moon
like
Knight the show
packing
did.
peanuts.
It filled you up.
It filled you up,
fills
but
you up.
it was not satisfying whatsoever.
Filled the gap.
So it pretty much. So, but yeah, it's been a phenomenal run. Jed McKay has done a good job of fleshing out the different personalities without beating us over the head with it. There's a lot of action going on, and in this actual particular annual, Jack Russell is back, and so we get back to kind of some of the original character interactions that spawned his origin, with Werewolf by Night being his first appearance and all.
Very topical as well.
Right. And it actually relates to, you can actually plug and play this annual into the actual run prior to issue 16. Unlike most annuals actually, where they just kind of are
almost-
usually
It's almost like a
standalone.
one shot. Yeah.
Yeah,
They just
standalone.
kind of throw it out there, or they got multiple stories in them that have nothing to
Right.
do with.
Mhm.
Exactly. It's usually that opportunity for people who had other ideas or other creators, had
Writers
other
who
ideas.
didn't get the run. They're like, hey,
Right.
we'll give you a short story.
Right.
Exactly.
So this is actually different in that regard, which is nice and refreshing.
That's always nice. It's like when there's a backup story in there's a lot of like the main runs like Action Comics or Batman will have a backup.
DC's doing it, yeah.
Yeah, DC's doing it a lot. I much prefer that because of the kind of same reason when it's the same writer. Like on Action Comics, Philip Kennedy Johnson is also writing the backup.
Right.
And the backup actually feels like you should read it. Whereas oftentimes the backup is just kind of like, this is just here to try to.
Is Zdarsky doing the
Plug this
backups
right
for Batman?
I don't think.
Yes.
Is he?
He did for a little bit. Is he
I
still?
think he did the
I
first
think
couple.
I think he's still on them.
I
the
think
other
I'm thinking
one
about
was Tinian. Tinian did the backups on Joker, the punchline.
And
Yeah.
Spurrier is doing the backups on Ron V's Detective right now. And I'm just like, I don't know.
Nah.
Just read it.
Before we get to the pick of the week, Brother Rob's got I think you're going to have a trade or something. You're going to go over a pick of the week this week?
Oh, I can talk about a trade that I like. So I've been reading. I'm a big nerd. I'm into D&D. So
nerd.
I have some critical
Big
role
nerd,
trades. Big nerd. You know, nerd since middle school. But I got some trades that were
Not the hair.
they're kind of Critical Role. So they're a D&D group that plays, and these are stories that were written about the characters that they created, which was really cool.
Oh, cool.
And what I love about this, and I know I think what you guys love about The Last God, I think also you guys were talking about that, is that this is like heavy world building stuff to me.
Yep.
And I'm big on world building. And I mean, that's why I love House of the Dragon so much, why I love George R.R. Martin,
That's why I love Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, right? And then Matt Mercer, who does Critical Role, is up there in the sense of like he has created worlds like Tolkien and like George
That's
R.R.
awesome.
Martin, but he runs under the radar because he's doing it for Dungeons and Dragons. So, but these voice actors created these characters, and then they co-wrote these one-shots that have to do with the characters. So it was cool for me to be able to read this as a completely standalone story of like, okay, I know these characters, but it's something to get deeper and deeper into the lore, which is what I like doing, because I think a lot of people like world building because it's an escape from everything. Like I
Right.
get to completely put myself in a separate world, which comics does that. But at the same time, it's like, I'm escaping kind of into the same world that I'm in.
Okay.
Whereas with Lord of the Rings and with House of the Dragon, you're like, okay, these people got problems, but they're not my problems. So I can
Right.
escape into those worlds. I can escape and get kind of out of the reality of it. And these one shots for me, again, were just that, where I can sit down and pull myself
Right.
away and be like, this is great storytelling.
It's
for me.
always nice when it's one shots and it helps you immerse yourself in the world because you're not like, okay, wait,
For
did
sure.
this story that I read 10 years ago count? Does this
Yep.
count? Nope, it doesn't matter. What you're reading is what you're reading. That's
Exactly.
what counts.
It's good
I like
stuff.
that. I'm going to mention our sponsor as well for this new comic book day segment. Listen, we all have stuff that we want to make sure that gets shown off when people come over to the house. I want to see all of Rob's artwork. He's got a little comic book corner.
I do.
The garage is
It's
being
the
taken
garage.
over by all his artwork and it pops and everything he's got on display, the artwork there. We've all got stuff that we want to show off, from comics to sports cards, original artwork, even graded comics. The guys over at Crafty Comics have you covered. Make sure that you take time to check them out on their website, Crafty Comics. That's Crafty with an I, craftycomics.com, or on the IG, Crafty Comics. Go check those guys out. They've got you covered literally. You don't have to stress about with their 100% customizable website. They've got you set up for success. You don't have to send anything away. Your precious goods that you're worried about coming back to you in one piece and safe and sound. Get with those guys at Crafty Comics. Again, craftycomics.com. That's crafty with an I. And check them out. They've got the good stuff. They've got the juice.
If you want a screenshot a picture of this, of Frank in his pizza costume, and then get it like framed and put it up on your wall because he's a hot pizza,
Wouldn't,
you can do that.
Slice of pizza.
wouldn't you love that? You'd have put that up in your comic book garage.
Hey, I'll put it up next to my sketches and the signatures and all of it.
He's gonna put it up
Life-size.
next to his
Yeah,
bed. It's
yeah.
gonna be the picture he wakes up next to, gives it a kiss before he rolls out of it.
It'll be a life.
Like the Wolverine
Pizza
meme.
Frank.
cardboard cutout.
anyways.